Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Flack-Wetherald from And Beyond and AndBeyondImprov.com. And if you know anything about me, you know that I love confrontation. At least I really believe in it. And I believe and it is the door to building the kind of culture that reflects our values. So somebody texted me and said, please put out content on how to handle confrontation remotely. So I'm making this video because I think this is a very great point. I hope you'll watch the full video and learn the best practices for really building an effective relationship through confrontation, because a lot of it stays the same. There's a lot of soul-centered work to do to get into alignment, to really choose curiosity instead of judgment, and that is what will make your confrontation so much better anyway. However, I do briefly want to just outline the ways that it's different now that we're in this remote working situation. So first of all, I highly recommend an app called Voxer. I get 0 kickbacks for your decision to download the app, but I think it's a great solution for teams to supplement Slack right now. People rely on Slack so heavily, and the thing is, it's just easy in written communication, text, Slack, email, whatever it is, to escalate a situation beyond what it needs to happen. So I really recommend Voxer. It's basically like a walkie-talkie app that allows you to hear each other. There's just so much more richness that can be communicated when you hear someone's tone. You can kind of detect their intentions or sarcasm or humor. So Voxer is a really great tool. As a replacement to email, I encourage people to use voice memos on their phone. This is a procedure that I've taught a bunch of clients because generally speaking, email gets pointed to by so many of my clients as the reason why people do not communicate well and the reason why certain leaders are viewed in a certain way. Their style of email communication sucks and tends to make people feel condescended or shouted at even when that's not their intention. Voice memos are a fantastic alternative. I will link to a tutorial to do this if you've never done it before, but basically you record a voice memo on your phone, and then you can save that to your Google Drive, and then you send that link in an email. So in the email, I would just say, hi, person, I created a voice memo for you to listen to because I think it will be easier for you to understand what I'm getting at if you hear me say it versus trying to interpret an email. Thanks so much. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. That's the end of it. Keep it short in the email because we really want to decrease the likelihood that something that we say gets misunderstood and taken out of context. Okay, those are the 2 key changes. I recommend Voxer. I recommend voice memos while we are working remote. But please do watch the rest of this video. There's good stuff coming up about alignment, about the decision rubric for how to know when you can just send a text message and how to know when to take more of the in-depth approach. So I hope that you'll watch the rest of this video because there's some good stuff in there. All right, thanks everyone and stay safe. Even though we are working remotely, your first job when you identify an opportunity for confrontation is to get into alignment. Meaning, don't be reactive, don't see how quickly you can fire something back on Slack or via email. Instead, get back into alignment, which is to say, I have faith in myself and my judgment, so if you're entering into a shame spiral and you're being reactive and explosive because of that, you have full faith in your scene partner, you're reminding yourself they are more than this one Slack message, they are more than this one thing. And you're also having faith in this process of building alongside each other. So quite often tension arises and conflict is needed because we are forgetting that it is safe to do our part, not everyone's part. We build things that we are proud of together, one piece at a time. In improv, we say, bring a brick, not a cathedral. And that is exactly how agile development works. We listen and build, listen and build, listen and build. It's the same in improv. So we need to have faith in that listen and build collaborative process. So that's step 1. Get back into alignment. That stays the same. Number 2 is get curious about the other person's perspective. So before we fire something off, we're going to ask ourselves, what does my scene partner think is happening here? And this is where we may need some help by reaching for people that feed our curiosity instead of reaching for people that feed our narrative. So people that are likely to just agree with you no matter what, people that are fiercely loyal to you, people who report directly to you or your mom, all of those are examples of people who are not probably the person you should reach out to in this moment. So what I have up on the screen for you to see now is called the decision rubric. So this will help you figure out what to do next. So you're unpacking, you're getting curious about your feelings and about the other person's perspective. Curiosity is the second step, and it goes both directions, about yourself and about the other person. So first of all, ask yourself, how much feeling do you have? And how much is there to say or learn about this topic? Those are the things that we're running against each other in order to figure out what happens next. If you have a lot of feeling and there is a lot to say or learn, that is when we are in a prime gold standard for relationship building through confrontation territory. So we'll get into that in a second. If there is just a little bit to say, or maybe nothing left to say or learn, but you have lots of feelings still, that's a good time to maybe not even have the confrontation. There's a chance that a confrontation doesn't even need to happen. And what really needs to happen is that you need to unpack it with someone on your sounding board who will feed your curiosity, or perhaps with a therapist. If there's just a little bit of feeling and a little bit to say and learn, so it's just not that big of a deal, it's fine to send a Slack message or email. And then lastly, if there is a lot to say and a lot to learn, or just there is more than in the other box and not that much feeling, then a phone call will be fine. So hopefully that's helpful, and you can unpack that. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll gladly respond. But now what I want to talk about is this gold standard for relationship building through confrontation and how you can tweak that in this current phase that we're in right now of needing to be remote from each other. So typically what I would say is you get into alignment, you get curious, then what you do is you send an email or a text that is non-specific. So what that means is you're letting someone know that you're upset because you don't want to blindside them, but you're not telling them what it's about, because what that does is invite a text response or an email response, and then before you know it, you're hashing it out online instead of face to face. And it's just very easy to misunderstand one another and for things to escalate when they don't have to. The benefit of developing a brand standard for confrontation is that these emails can get a lot shorter. Once people have a shared language around confrontation, instead of having to figure out what you want to say every time, your email might look something like this. The only thing that needs to change here in the world of remote is, instead of buy you a latte or whatever, we can say, can we do a Zoom call? Can we do a Google Hangout? Can we do a FaceTime? Can we, in some other way, through Skype or whatever, be face-to-face so that we can talk about this thing that's upsetting me? So second step is we do the Zoom call, we do the Skype, whatever it is. Be specific. Specifically what happened, specifically how you felt about it, specifically what the implications are. And I recently heard Simon Sinek talking about this, and I couldn't believe it, and hopefully he and I become friends someday because we share a lot of values around confrontation. So something very specific, and then stop talking, okay? Because now it's your turn to listen. You don't just want to pile on. You don't want to start down this road of, I'm noticing a pattern. When we start saying those kinds of things, and I'm not the only one who thinks this, that's how we slip into attack or slip into intervention unnecessarily, and that makes that person get defensive, feel condescended, or stop taking you seriously because they can tell you're blowing something out of proportion. Now, here is where you have to listen with curiosity. Your scene partner can't surprise you if you don't give them the opportunity. Final step of this process is, once the Skype call is over, send a recap, because here's what happens psychologically. We walk away from confrontation, and then our brains start remembering one little thing that got said. Our brains start remembering one little thing that felt awkward, and we start extrapolating on, what does that mean? Ugh, I know what this means. And we start catastrophizing and making up a whole story that's based in fear and not based in reality. So we want to nip that shit in the bud. Confrontation is the door to the things that you want for your culture. This is how we get tactical and logistical, and how we make sure that the theory of our values and the theory of our culture is actionable and is something that our leaders know how to actually execute on a day-to-day basis. This is how we do it. For any help with creating a brand standard around confrontation at your company, please reach out. Thank you so much for watching this video, and good luck confronting people. Working remote is not an excuse to not handle confrontation effectively. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.